The New Day's heel turn was one of the best executed heel turns in recent WWE history, but since it has been ruined. I'm Ben Allison, here at Wrestling Republic, and welcome to a 5-minute rant, a space for wrestling fans, passionate wrestling fans, to get some anger off their chest and to rant about something in wrestling, and then after the rant, to put it in the all-new rant box and lock it away. Therapeutic, if you will. So without further ado, let's get into my rant. And let's start right at the start, right? Because the New Day was formed in 2014. And how many factions stayed together without anybody turning or even any tensions for an entire decade? Well, the New Day did. And during that time, they had 13 tag team title reigns. 13, including, of course, that memorable one Raw Tag Team Championship run, which lasted 483 days and honestly felt like longer in 2016 to 2017. And not even just in tag team wrestling, but also as individuals during this time, they all felt like one. Who can forget about Kofi Mania, WrestleMania 35, where Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship and his brothers were there with him, lifting him up. It was fantastic. And only a couple of years later, Big E would go on to win the WWE Championship, and once again, the New Day would be alongside him. And while Xavier Woods never himself won the championship, he did win King of the Ring, and again, they were alongside it. All their accomplishments didn't just seem like singles accomplishments, but also team accomplishments as well. The point I'm making here is for a decade, they stayed together and they put themselves in the GOAT tag team conversation easily. And during that time, like I said, a split wasn't teased. There were no tensions between them, and that was so rare, yet so refreshing. But after Big E's tragic neck injury, the truth is, they started to get a little bit stale. They started to feel in a little bit of a limbo, and quite frankly, they started to feel boring. A change was clearly needed. But kicking out Big E was still a big decision, especially when, like I said, there were no tensions between them for a decade. But they decided to do it, and boy oh boy did they do it perfectly. Most heel turns are aiming for a shocking moment, whether it's a chair to the back or a thumbs down, it's something to try and get a shock from the crowd. But because, like I said, the New Day was together for so long, they didn't want a shocking moment, they wanted a sad moment, and they achieved it just geniusly. It was a slow segment which was tense from the beginning. It allowed the crowd to get really invested into it. And as it went on, well, it became clearer and clearer where it was going. And Big E was just very simply told, "Hey, Big E, you are out. It's all your fault." And then he walked off slowly. The crowd were crying. It was really emotional. And yes, it was different to almost any other heel turn, but I genuinely think it was genius. It didn't aim for a shock, it aimed for an emotional moment, and it got it perfectly. However, in the weeks that followed the turn, some red flags immediately started to become clear. Because every week for about 2 months, they just come out, say it's the fans' fault, that people aren't being understanding of them, that they are completely within their rights to do this, which was enjoyable for the first couple of weeks, but when it got to 2 months, it was just stale. It lost its effect, and it kind of just felt like there was no real direction or thought put into it. They were just in and out of small feuds. It was really bizarre, and it just kind of felt like they were killing time until the New Day would go on to WrestleMania to win the tag team championships, which was quite frankly predictable months in advance. And now the tag team title reign, which ruined it all. Because they did eventually go on to WrestleMania and they dethroned the War Raiders for those tag team championships. And I, along with many other fans, thought this was the start of something special. This will be where there's a clear direction for them. And this is going to be a long run, which is going to be career defining for them. But then they just held it for 73 days and lost it to the Judgment Day. So you are telling me that the reason they ended a decade-long run of no tensions between the members was because they got boring and stale, and what happens after you turn them heel? They're still boring and stale. It's completely directionless. It's clear to me that WWE did not think past the turn itself, because like I said, the turn was genius. They put tons of thought into it, but past that, nothing. And quite frankly, it is arguably the biggest mistake of the Triple H era so far. Vince McMahon absolutely hated tag team wrestling, and even still, the Raw tag team division is in a worse state than when Vince McMahon was in charge. How is that possible? Whew, well, I felt good to get that off my chest. So without further ado, here is the rant box. The lid's a little tight. And then we do have the New Day heel run. And there we are. It is in the rant box and I'm shutting it. I can now shut up about it and be more of a positive wrestling fan, hopefully. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this little rant of mine. Hopefully the New Day's heel run isn't actually ruined. Hopefully they manage to save it. But I don't know. It's going to be tough. Thank you guys. Please make sure to like and subscribe and I will see you in the next one. Peace.